what really happened to Jonathan Antoine after that unforgettable audition on Britain's Got Talent in 2012 and his follow-up journey on the global stage. At just 17, he stunned audiences worldwide with his operatic power, instantly becoming a household name and drawing comparisons to Pavarotti himself. But like many young talents who rise fast, the real question was whether Jonathan could turn that overnight fame into a lasting career, or whether he would vanish into the long list of Where Are They Now contestants. Over a decade later, the answer is clear. Jonathan Antoine didn't just survive the glare of the spotlight. He's carved out an extraordinary path as one of the most unique and beloved voices of his generation. From chart-topping albums to new creative projects, from intimate studio recordings to international concerts, his story is one of resilience, growth, and unexpected twists that continue to surprise both fans and critics alike. Reporters still recall the exact night Jonathan Antoine first stepped into the public eye, a nervous teenager paired with his schoolmate Charlotte Jaconelli on Britain's Got Talent in 2012. What began as a shy introduction quickly turned into one of the most breathtaking auditions the show's history. As Jonathan's operatic tenor soared across the stage, the audience erupted, and Simon Cowell himself admitted he hadn't expected such power to come from a boy so young. Media outlets worldwide ran headlines dubbing him the Teen Pavarotti, while viral clips of that performance collected millions of views within days. In the months that followed, Jonathan and Charlotte, branded as Jonathan and Charlotte, rode a wave of instant fame, releasing albums together and performing on major stages. Their debut album even reached the top 5 on the UK charts, proving that their success wasn't limited to a TV talent show. Yet behind the glittering headlines, industry insiders began to wonder how long such a duo could last, especially as Jonathan's remarkable voice and distinct style seemed destined for a solo career. Those early years established him not just as a novelty act, but as a serious classical crossover talent whose future would be closely watched by both critics and fans. When the partnership with Charlotte Jaconelli eventually came to a natural close, the spotlight shifted entirely to Jonathan Antoine, and the pressure mounted. Could he carry the weight of expectation on his own? Reporters at the time described it as a pivotal moment, one where Jonathan had to choose between fading quietly or stepping fully into his own artistry. He chose the latter, and in doing so, redefined his career. His debut solo album, Tenore, shot to the top of the UK classical charts, silencing doubts about his ability to thrive without the safety net of a duet partner. Not long after, Believe followed, showcasing not just his voice, but his growing maturity as a performer who could blend operatic tradition with accessible crossover appeal. By the time Going the Distance arrived, it was clear Jonathan was no longer just a boy from BGT. He had become a serious international artist. The album reflected years of growth, mixing beloved standards with fresh interpretations, and cemented his reputation as someone who could hold his own alongside the best in the genre. Industry insiders noted his increasing confidence on stage, his ability to connect with orchestras and conductors, and his willingness to take risks in song selection. These years marked Jonathan's transformation from a nervous schoolboy into a performer who had earned his place among the leading tenors of his generation. Fast forward to the present, and Jonathan Antoine is no longer just reflecting on his early fame, he's actively shaping his artistic future. Reporters recently highlighted his release of IOC Scene, a powerful single that not only showcases his commanding tenor, but also underscores his ability to connect deeply with modern audiences. The choice of song was telling, emotional, cinematic, and proof that Jonathan is willing to step outside the predictable boundaries of classical crossover. Fans flooded social media with praise, noting the richness and control in his voice, while industry critics pointed out that his interpretations now carry a maturity that simply wasn't possible a decade ago. Beyond singles, Jonathan has been working intensively in the studio, as his official updates reveal long recording sessions and collaborations with top-tier producers, including Grammy winner Kevin Bowe. These sessions hint at more than just routine releases. They suggest a carefully crafted new phase in his career, one where every track is designed to resonate globally. Observers note that while Jonathan still honors classical roots, he's increasingly blending elements of pop, cinematic scores, and even subtle hints of soul, aiming to broaden his audience without compromising his signature style. In short, Jonathan's latest music signals not a safe return, but a bold declaration that his artistry is still evolving. Jonathan Antoine's journey hasn't just unfolded in the studio, it's been amplified on stages around the world. One of the most notable milestones was his Going the Distance concert special, filmed live in Toronto, which featured him alongside special guests and a full orchestra. Reporters covering the event described it as a turning point where Jonathan proved he could command not just a recording booth, but also a grand international stage. His schedule since has included appearances across Europe and North America, each performance drawing enthusiastic crowds who see him as more than a former talent show contestant. He has also participated in tribute concerts and cultural showcases, lending his voice to honor composers and causes, demonstrating that he is not only an entertainer but also a respected figure within the classical community. Critics noted his ease in moving between operatic arias, crossover standards, and modern ballads, reflecting a versatility rare among tenors of his generation. Behind the spotlight, Jonathan has embraced collaborations, working with renowned conductors and instrumentalists, further polishing his live presence. These international projects have solidified his reputation as a global artist whose reach extends far beyond the borders of Britain's Got Talent, placing him firmly in the lineage of classical crossover stars with true staying power. Over the years, Jonathan Antoine's evolution hasn't only been about albums or concerts, it's been deeply personal. Reporters who followed his journey often note how his once shy stage presence has transformed into a confident, authentic persona that resonates with audiences far beyond the music itself. Early on, Jonathan was defined by nerves and uncertainty, but as his career progressed, his voice grew richer, darker, and more controlled, reflecting not only vocal maturity but also emotional depth. What strikes observers most now is his ability to deliver authenticity. When he sings, it doesn't feel like a performance designed to impress. It feels like a personal conversation with every listener in the room. Jonathan himself has spoken in interviews about embracing who he is, imperfections and all, rather than striving to fit an industry mold. That vulnerability has become part of his strength, and fans often highlight how his candor about life's challenges has made him more relatable. Even in the way he presents himself, whether on stage, in interviews, or online, Jonathan has shed the teen prodigy label and embraced his identity as a fully realized artist and human being. For many, this evolution has been just as compelling as the music itself, proving that his staying power lies not only in vocal ability, but in his authenticity. As Jonathan Antoine stands at this stage of his career, speculation about what comes next has become a favorite topic among both fans and industry insiders. Reporters covering his recent projects note that while his past albums have leaned toward classical crossover, there's growing buzz about whether his upcoming material will push even further into cinematic pop or even more experimental territory. His long studio sessions teased on social media have fueled rumors that a full-length project could be on the horizon, possibly blending orchestral grandeur with contemporary production. Fans online have debated whether Jonathan might pursue collaborations with mainstream artists, something that could introduce his extraordinary voice to entirely new audiences. At the same time, others hope he will continue honoring his operatic roots, keeping the purity of classical tradition alive in his repertoire. Beyond music, Jonathan's release of a children's book, Jonathan and the Magical Cape, hinted at a willingness to expand his creativity into new mediums, leaving open the question of whether more unexpected projects could follow. What's clear is that his supporters are eager for more, watching closely for any announcement of tours, albums, or collaborations. For now, the rumors keep anticipation alive, and one thing remains certain: Jonathan Antoine's journey is far from finished, and the next chapter could be his most surprising yet. Looking back, Jonathan Antoine's story is far more than a simple "what happened after the talent show" narrative. Reporters who first saw him rise as a timid teenager on Britain's Got Talent could hardly have predicted the resilience and artistry he would show more than a decade later. From the whirlwind of viral fame with Charlotte Jaconelli to the leap into a solo career, Jonathan has navigated pressures that might have crushed others his age. Instead, he built a portfolio of chart-topping albums, headline concerts, and projects that reflect both ambition and authenticity. His recent releases like IOC Scene, combined with whispers of new material in the works, reveal an artist still hungry to evolve. And beyond the music, his personal growth, embracing vulnerability, authenticity, and creative risk, has deepened his connection with fans worldwide. The conclusion is undeniable. Jonathan Antoine has not only endured the spotlight, but learned to thrive within it, proving that his journey didn't end with a golden buzzer moment, but continues to inspire. As he steps into the next phase of his career, one thing is clear. Jonathan Antoine is no longer just a boy with the big voice, but a fully realized artist whose story is still being written.